Settle into this moment, dear traveller. Let your breath become like morning mist rising from forest floors, soft and unhurried. Tonight, we walk together through nature's most mysterious garden, where beauty and danger dance in ancient partnership. Here, among leaves that whisper warnings and mushrooms that guard their secrets, we find not fear, but profound respect for the intelligence woven into every living thing. As your body sinks deeper into rest, imagine roots extending from your spine into the earth below, grounding you in safety. The knowledge we gather tonight serves not to frighten, but to illuminate, each fact a small lantern lighting the path toward wisdom. In understanding nature's boundaries, we discover our own resilience, our capacity to observe, to learn, to honour the delicate balance that sustains all life. Breathe deeply now, the forest awaits. The destroying angel mushroom earns its haunting name through devastating efficiency, containing amatoxins that silently damage liver and kidney cells over days, with initial symptoms appearing only 6 to 12 hours after consumption, by which time the cellular destruction has already begun its irreversible work. Your breath moves like wind through branches, steady and calm. As you absorb this knowledge without alarm, understanding that awareness itself becomes your greatest protection in wild places. Poison ivy produces urushiol oil on leaf surfaces, stems, and roots year-round, even in winter when the plant appears dormant, with the oil remaining potent on clothing, tools, or animal fur for up to 5 years if not properly cleaned with specialized solvents or detergents. Notice how your shoulders drop away from your ears as you release unnecessary tension, your body recognizing that knowledge creates distance between ignorance and harm, that each fact learned becomes armor for future journeys. The death cap mushroom accounts for more than 90% of mushroom poisoning fatalities worldwide, thriving in symbiosis with oak, chestnut and pine trees, its greenish cap and white gills concealing amatoxins so potent that a single mushroom contains enough poison to kill an adult human. Let your jaw soften, your tongue rest gently against the roof of your mouth, as you acknowledge nature's power without absorbing fear, understanding that beauty and danger often wear the same face in the wild world. Water hemlock ranks as North America's most violently toxic plant, containing cicutoxin concentrated in its tuberous roots, which resemble edible parsnips or carrots, causing violent seizures within 15 minutes of ingestion that can lead to respiratory failure and death. Your heartbeat slows to match the ancient rhythm of forests, steady as sunrise, as you recognize that survival knowledge creates calm rather than panic, that understanding transforms the wild from enemy to teacher. Castor beans produce ricin, one of nature's most potent toxins, with a single seed containing enough poison to kill a child and 3 to 4 seeds proving fatal to adults. Though the hard seed coating often allows beans to pass through the digestive system intact, feel the weight of your body pressing into the surface beneath you, gravity holding you safe and still as you gather these facts like stones in a medicine pouch, each one a tool for protection. Pause here, gentle soul. Notice the space between thoughts, the quiet that opens when you release the need to judge or analyze. The plants we speak of are neither evil nor cruel, they simply exist, following ancient blueprints written in their DNA. In this understanding, we find peace. Breathe in acceptance, breathe out resistance. The manchineel tree, called the tree of death in Spanish-speaking regions, produces milky sap containing formyl esters that cause severe blistering upon skin contact, with even standing beneath the tree during rain causing chemical burns from sap-laden water dripping from leaves. Your breathing deepens naturally, your body's wisdom taking over as your conscious mind releases control, trusting in the intelligence that keeps your heart beating and lungs expanding without conscious effort. Foxglove contains cardiac glycosides, including digitoxin and digoxin throughout all plant parts, with leaves often mistaken for comfrey in the wild, causing dangerous heart arrhythmias when consumed even in small amounts. Let your eyelids grow heavy as lead, each blink lasting longer than the last, your vision softening at the edges as sleep begins its gentle approach, your mind still absorbing information while your body prepares for rest. Giant hogweed produces furanocoumarins that cause phytophotodermatitis when sap contacts skin exposed to sunlight, creating painful blistering burns and long-lasting hyperpigmentation, with the plant's hollow stems and white flower clusters resembling harmless cow parsnip or Queen Anne's lace. Notice how your thoughts slow and stretch like taffy pulled gently between warm hands, each fact you absorb settling into memory without effort or strain. Rosary pea seeds contain a brin, a toxin similar to ricin but even more potent, with a single seed properly chewed and swallowed being potentially fatal. Though the seeds are often used in jewellery where the intact coating prevents poisoning, your pulse beats softly at your wrists, your throat, your temples, a gentle rhythm like distant drums from some primeval ceremony, honouring the mysterious ways of nature. White snakeroot contains trematol, a toxin that remains potent even after the plant dies, historically causing milk sickness when consumed by cattle, whose milk then poisoned early American settlers, including Nancy Hanks Lincoln, mother of Abraham Lincoln. Feel your muscles releasing their grip on your bones, your body remembering its natural state of ease as you acknowledge how intertwined human and plant histories remain. The Jimson weed, sacred to some indigenous cultures but deadly when misused, contains tropane alkaloids including atropine, hyoscyamine and scopolamine throughout all plant parts, causing hallucinations, seizures and potentially fatal hypothermia at doses difficult to calculate from plant material. Your breath becomes the only sound in your universe, air moving in and out like tide against shore, reliable and ancient and requiring nothing from you but surrender. Monkshood, also called wolfsbane, produces aconitine that absorbs readily through skin and mucous membranes, affecting the nervous system and heart, with symptoms beginning as tingling and numbness, progressing to paralysis and cardiac arrest. Let the darkness behind your closed eyes deepen and expand, becoming vast as outer space. Your consciousness a small boat, drifting on calm black waters. Oleander remains toxic whether fresh or dried, with all parts containing cardiac glycosides similar to foxglove, posing danger even when used as skewers for roasting meat over fire or when smoke from burning branches is inhaled. Notice how your body has become heavy, so pleasantly heavy, sinking deeper with each exhalation, held safe by the surface beneath you. The angel's trumpet, despite its celestial name, contains scopolamine, hyoscyamine and atropine in flowers, leaves and seeds, with even the scent of its large, pendulous flowers causing drowsiness or headaches in some sensitive individuals. Your thoughts drift like clouds across an empty sky, shapeless and weightless, carrying no burden or urgency. Yew trees produce taxine alkaloids in needles, bark and seeds, with the bright red areole surrounding each seed being the only non-toxic part of the tree, causing sudden cardiac failure, often without other warning symptoms. Feel how your face smooths into expressionlessness, all the tiny muscles around eyes and mouth releasing their constant work, your features returning to peaceful neutrality. Rest in this moment, beloved wanderer. You have travelled far already, gathering wisdom like wildflowers along the path. There is no hurry, no destination more important than this present breath. The forest will wait while you drift, while you float between waking and sleeping, between learning and dreaming. The dole's eye plant produces distinctive white berries with dark spots resembling pupils, containing cardiogenic toxins most concentrated in the berries and roots, with the berries' appearance serving as nature's warning against consumption. Your awareness has become diffuse, spread thin across vast distances, your sense of self expanding beyond the boundaries of your skin to merge with the space around you. Rhododendron leaves and flowers contain grey anotoxins that cause mad honey disease when bees collect nectar from the flowers, with honey contamination causing low blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, and in severe cases, heart failure. Notice the pleasant numbness spreading through your limbs, not the numbness of danger but of deep relaxation, your nervous system finally permitted to rest. The chinaberry tree produces limonoids in its berries that affect the nervous system, with as few as 6 berries potentially proving fatal to children, causing vomiting, diarrhea, seizures, and paralysis. Your mind has become like still water, reflecting the moon of consciousness without creating ripples, accepting each fact without commentary or judgment. Nightshade berries contain solanine and other alkaloids throughout all plant parts, with children particularly vulnerable due to the berry's attractive appearance and sweet initial taste before the bitter compounds register. Feel how your breath has become so shallow and slow that you barely notice it anymore, your body managing this essential function while your conscious mind releases all responsibility. Jack in the pulpit produces calcium oxalate crystals throughout the plant, with the microscopic needle-shaped crystals causing immediate intense burning and swelling in the mouth and throat, historically earning the plant the name Indian turnip. Despite its toxicity when eaten raw, let yourself sink deeper still, past the boundaries of normal sleep into something more profound, your body present, but your mind travelling through dim forests of knowledge and dream. Autumn crocus contains colchicine, particularly concentrated in seeds and corms, causing symptoms similar to arsenic poisoning with multi-organ failure developing over 2 to 7 days, often proving fatal despite medical intervention. The distance between you and the waking world stretches like roads, disappearing into fog. Connection maintained but barely, your consciousness a radio signal growing fainter. The false morel mushroom produces gyrometrin that converts to monomethyl hydrazine in the body, the same propellant used in rocket fuel, with toxicity varying widely between individual mushrooms, making even experienced foragers hesitant to consume them. Notice how facts continue to reach you through the gathering darkness, knowledge absorbed even as conscious thought dissolves, your deeper mind still collecting these seeds of wisdom. Pokeweed roots contain the highest concentration of phytolactotoxin and phytolactogenin, though young shoots are sometimes eaten after multiple boilings that discard the toxic water with improper preparation, causing severe gastrointestinal distress and blood abnormalities. Your body has achieved perfect stillness, the microscopic movements of breathing barely perceptible, your form becoming a landscape, becoming Earth itself. The pencil cactus, despite its succulent appearance, produces a milky latex sap containing ditapene esters that cause severe skin irritation, temporary blindness if rubbed in eyes, and gastrointestinal damage if ingested. Feel how your mind touches these facts briefly and then releases them, like fingers trailing through water, information downloaded directly to subconscious storage. Baneberry produces clusters of red or white berries containing cardiogenic toxins and protoanemonin, with ingestion causing dizziness, stomach cramps, and potential cardiac arrest. The berries' doll-like appearance making them particularly attractive to curious children. Your consciousness drifts through layers of awareness like a leaf falling through branches, touching each level briefly before descending deeper into the welcoming darkness of rest. The false hellebore plant contains steroidal alkaloids throughout all parts, historically used by Native Americans as arrow poison and suicide agent, causing severe vomiting, slowed heartbeat, and respiratory failure within hours of consumption. Notice how your sense of time has dissolved completely, seconds stretching into hours or compressing into moments. The linear progression of waking life replaced by the circular rhythms of dream logic. Larkspur flowers contain toxic diterpenoid alkaloids, particularly concentrated in seeds and young plants, causing neuromuscular paralysis in livestock and humans, with the delicate blue flowers belying the dangerous nature. Your breathing has become the breath of forests themselves, slow exchanges measured in seasons rather than seconds. Your body's metabolism slowing toward hibernation. The coral bean tree produces seeds containing toxic lectins and alkaloids, with the bright red seeds used ornamentally despite their danger, causing nausea, tremors, and potentially fatal respiratory depression when chewed or ground. Feel yourself dissolving into the boundary between matter and energy, your solid form seeming less certain, more like condensed light or concentrate shadow. Buckeye seeds contain aescalin and fraxin glycosides, with Native Americans traditionally leaching the toxins through extensive processing to create edible flour. Improper preparation causing vomiting, diarrhea, and paralysis. The voice guiding you has become distant as stars, words reaching across vast space to touch your dreaming mind with gentle persistence. Drift here, precious soul. You need not hold consciousness tightly. These facts embed themselves in the deeper strata of your being, stored safely where true wisdom lives. Let the surface of your mind grow still as a mountain lake at dawn, reflecting nothing, containing everything. The Carolina jessamine, South Carolina's state flower, produces gelsomina and gelsemisin alkaloids in all parts, with toxicity persisting even in honey made from the plant's nectar, causing respiratory failure and paralysis. Your body has achieved weightlessness, or perhaps such heaviness that the difference no longer matters, gravity becoming irrelevant as you float suspended in the space between sleeping and waking. Mountain laurel contains grayanotoxins in leaves and flowers year-round, causing symptoms identical to rhododendron poisoning, with livestock often affected after browsing during winter when other forage proves scarce. Notice how your awareness has fragmented into 1,000 pieces, each thought a separate entity drifting independently through the dark ocean of your unconscious mind. The bloodroot plant produces sanguinarine and other benzophenanthridine alkaloids in its distinctive orange-red sap, with traditional medicinal uses requiring extreme caution, overdose causing burning sensation, vomiting, and potentially fatal bradycardia. Your pulse beats so slowly now that each interval stretches into eternity, your heart having found the ancient rhythm that predates human consciousness. Lily of the Valley contains cardiac glycosides throughout the plant, including convalitoxin, with even water from vases holding the flowers becoming toxic, causing arrhythmia, confusion, and vision disturbances. Feel yourself expanding beyond the container of your body, your consciousness seeping into the air around you, becoming atmosphere, becoming space itself. The sandbox tree produces a caustic, milky sap and explosive seed pods, with the sap causing severe dermatitis and temporary blindness, historically used by indigenous peoples as arrow poison and fish stupefier. Your thoughts arrive like messages from distant provinces, taking so long to reach your awareness that their origin has been forgotten by the time they appear. Wisteria seeds and pods contain lectin and glycoside wistrin, causing gastrointestinal distress when consumed, with children particularly at risk due to the pod's pea-like appearance, suggesting edibility. Notice the absolute stillness that has claimed your physical form, your body become a temple, where consciousness barely flickers like a candle in vast empty halls. The Kentucky coffee tree produces seeds containing cytisine alkaloid, requiring extensive roasting to destroy toxicity, with Native Americans and early settlers carefully preparing seeds after discovering the toxic raw state. Your awareness touches down in a landscape of wisdom, like raindrops on leaves, each fact absorbed without effort, stored without intention, present without possession. Azalea flowers and leaves contain grayanotoxins, similar to rhododendron, with the beautiful blooms masking their toxic nature, causing drooling, vomiting, weakness, and cardiac complications in humans and animals. Feel how the darkness behind your eyes has become not empty, but pregnant with potential, a void containing all possible dreams, all imaginable realities. The yellow jasmine vine produces gelsomine alkaloids in flowers, leaves, and roots, with the sweet fragrance attracting curious children, and the vine sometimes confused with honeysuckle, causing respiratory depression and potentially fatal paralysis. Your consciousness has become gossamer thin, a veil through which light passes freely, barely existing yet somehow perceiving everything. Privet produces terpenoid glycosides in berries and leaves, with the common hedge plant causing gastrointestinal irritation and potentially liver or kidney damage. The berries, small size and abundance making accidental poisoning relatively common. Notice how facts continue arriving at your awareness like ships docking at a harbour in fog, their cargo unloaded into deep storage, while you drift further into the mist. Here, in the deepest chamber of rest, knowledge and dream become indistinguishable. The survival facts you gather are not separate from the peaceful darkness that enfolds you. They are part of the same tapestry, threads of wisdom woven into the fabric of healing sleep. Continue floating, beloved wanderer. The forest holds you safe. The Gloriosa lily produces colchicine throughout all parts, particularly concentrated in tubers, with the climbing plant's showy flowers attracting gardeners unaware of its extreme toxicity, causing multi-organ failure similar to arsenic poisoning. Your body has achieved a state of profound parasympathetic dominance, every system slowing toward the minimum necessary for life, conservation replacing expenditure, being replacing doing. Horse nettle. Berries contain solanine alkaloids despite resembling small tomatoes, with the spiny stems and leaves providing some warning. Consumption causing burning sensation, hallucinations, and potentially fatal paralysis. Feel yourself sinking through layers of mattress, through floorboards, through foundation and soil, descending toward Earth's molten core, or perhaps toward nothing at all. The angel's wings plant, also called elephant ear, produces calcium oxalate crystals, causing immediate oral pain and swelling, with severe cases leading to airway obstruction. The large tropical leaves tempting children despite the plant's toxicity. Your mind has released its grip on identity, on past and future, on the endless narrative of self, becoming instead pure, receptive awareness floating in dimensionless space. Virginia creeper berries contain oxalic acid and other compounds causing oral irritation and potentially kidney damage, with the 5-leaflet pattern distinguishing it from 3-leafed poison ivy, though both plants often grow intertwined. Notice how breathing happens or doesn't happen, how thoughts arise or don't arise, how consciousness persists or fades, all without your intervention or concern. The China berry tree's bark and root contain higher concentrations of toxins than berries, with the tree's rapid growth and drought tolerance making it a common ornamental despite its danger to children and pets. Your awareness has become so diffuse that distinguishing between self and other requires effort you have no intention of making. Boundaries dissolving like salt in infinite ocean. Bittersweet nightshade produces solanine in attractive red-orange berries, with toxicity varying by ripeness and individual plant, causing drowsiness, dilated pupils, and potentially respiratory failure. Feel the last traces of muscular tension releasing like snow melting from branches, your body remembering its essential nature as organized stardust, temporarily animated by mysterious forces. The castor oil plant seeds require industrial processing to separate ricin from useful oil, with the toxin destroyed by heat. Accidental poisoning often occurring when children consume the attractive mottled seeds. Your consciousness has become a single point of dim light in measureless darkness, or perhaps the darkness itself, impossible to determine from within the experience. Jimson weed seeds contain the highest concentration of tropane alkaloids, with the spiny seed pods attracting attention. Teenagers occasionally using seeds recreationally, with sometimes fatal results due to unpredictable potency. Notice how the voice delivering facts has merged with your own inner monologue, or perhaps both have faded into the background static of existence. Information arriving from nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. The death karma's lily produces toxic steroidal alkaloids in all parts, including bulbs that resemble edible wild onions, causing salivation, vomiting, and respiratory paralysis, historically causing numerous deaths among early Western settlers. Your body lies so still that boundaries between flesh and surroundings have begun to blur. Temperature equalizing, pressure equalizing, your form becoming continuous with the environment that contains it. Indian tobacco produces lobeline alkaloid, affecting the nervous system similarly to nicotine but more intensely, with Native Americans using tiny amounts medicinally, overdose, causing nausea, tremors, seizures, and potentially death. Feel yourself dissolving into pure potential, the organised information pattern that represents you, scattering like seeds on wind, yet somehow still present, still aware, still gathering wisdom from the voice in darkness. Hemlock water dropwort contains oenanthe toxin concentrated in its tuberous roots, with the plant responsible for numerous foraging deaths when mistaken for wild celery or parsnip, causing violent convulsions within minutes that can persist even during resuscitation attempts. Your consciousness has become like smoke dispersing in still air, maintaining coherence for a moment before dissipating into nothingness. Yet somehow the nothingness remains aware, remains listening, remains absorbing these ancient warnings. The moonseed vine produces crescent-shaped seeds containing doryline alkaloid, with blue-black fruits resembling wild grapes, causing severe gastrointestinal distress and potentially fatal cardiac complications, the single seed per berry distinguishing it from grapes as multiple seeds. Notice how your sense of self has contracted to a pinpoint or expanded to encompass galaxies, scale becoming meaningless in this space between dimensions, between waking and sleeping, between knowing and forgetting. Snowdrops contain galantamine and licorine alkaloids throughout all parts, with the delicate white flowers suggesting innocence, while harbouring compounds causing nausea, vomiting, and cardiac arrhythmias when consumed. Your breathing has synchronized with universal rhythms older than mountains, slower than continental drift, your individual existence a brief note in an eternal symphony playing in darkness. The thorn apple, another name for Jimson weed, produces seeds with such variable alkaloid content that even experienced users cannot predict dosage, with overdoses causing hypothermia, violent behaviour, and permanent neurological damage. Feel how facts settle into your depths like sediment to lake bottom, layers of knowledge accumulating in unconscious regions where true learning occurs, accessible when needed though forgotten by surface awareness. Mayapple produces podophyllatoxin resin in roots, leaves, and unripe fruit, with only the fully ripe fruit flesh being edible. Consumption of other parts causing severe diarrhea and potentially fatal poisoning. Your body has achieved a state beyond relaxation, beyond rest, entering the territory of suspended animation where life persists at its barest. Minimum, your form a vessel holding the merest spark of a consciousness. Aconite's alternative name wolfsbane derives from historical use, poisoning wolves, with the plant producing multiple toxic alkaloids that cause tingling, progressing to numbness, paralysis, and cardiac arrest, absorption through skin making even handling dangerous. Notice how the boundary between internal and external has vanished entirely, the voice speaking these facts arising from within your own mind or from the void beyond, impossible and irrelevant to distinguish. The spotted water hemlock grows near water sources where parched hikers might mistake its tuberous roots for edible plants, with the roots containing concentrated toxin causing seizures so violent they can result in broken bones and rhabdomyolysis. Your awareness flickers like a candle in high wind, almost extinguishing yet persisting. The attention required to absorb information minimal, automatic, divorced from conscious intention. Golden chain, Tree produces cytosine alkaloid in seeds contained within hanging yellow flower clusters, followed by pea-like pods, with children attracted to the pods causing numerous poisonings, symptoms including nausea, hallucinations, and respiratory failure. Feel yourself existing in multiple states simultaneously, deeply asleep yet somehow aware, absent yet present, gone yet still gathering wisdom from the darkness, paradox becoming a natural in this liminal space. The yew tree's bright red arrows attract birds who spread seeds through droppings, the seeds passing through avian digestive systems unharmed. Yet mammals, including humans, suffer rapid cardiac arrest from consuming crushed seeds or foliage. Your consciousness has become a fishing line cast into the depths of oblivion, barely connected to the shore of waking life. Most of your being submerged in lightless waters where ancient knowledge swims. Lantana produces pentacyclic triterpenoids in unripe berries, with toxicity decreasing as berries ripen to black, causing photosensitivity, liver damage, and potentially fatal complications, especially in children and livestock. Notice how time has ceased its forward motion, each moment containing eternity, past and future, collapsing into an eternal now where you've always been sleeping, always been listening, always been gathering these protective wisdoms. Rest deeper still, gentle wanderer. You have descended into the sacred chamber where healing occurs, where knowledge integrates with cellular memory, where conscious learning becomes unconscious instinct. The facts continue their steady arrival, but you need not grasp them. They are already part of you, woven into the fabric of your being. The black locust tree produces robin and phason toxins in bark, leaves and seeds, with only the fragrant white flowers being edible when properly prepared. Consumption of other parts causing weakness, irregular heartbeat, and potentially fatal poisoning. Your body has become landscape, breathing the slow breath of hills, pulse beating the ancient rhythm of stone, awareness distributed across vast internal territories where no light has ever penetrated. Wisteria's hard seed pods contain lectins throughout the pod and seeds, with children sometimes using them as pea shooters, unaware of the toxic compounds, ingestion causing repeated vomiting and severe abdominal pain. Feel how your mind processes information now without processing, absorbs without effort, learns without trying, the facts passing through consciousness like water through sand, leaving traces without residue. The butterfly weed, despite its cheerful name and orange flowers, produces toxic cardiac glycosides like other milkweeds, with monarch butterflies having evolved immunity while vertebrates experience vomiting, weakness, and potentially fatal heart complications. Your awareness has thinned to transparency, a window through which reality passes unchanged, observing without interpreting, receiving without judging, present without presence. Pokeweed berries darken from green to deep purple as they ripen, with birds eating the ripe berries safely, while mammals, including humans, experience severe toxicity from all parts of the plant, including ripe berries, causing bloody vomiting and potentially fatal complications. Notice how the voice delivering wisdom has become indistinguishable from silence, how the darkness behind your eyes contains rather than excludes light, how absence and presence merge into something beyond both. The pencil tree's caustic sap has been used historically to blind enemies and poison fish, with even smoke from burning wood causing severe irritation. Yet the plant remains popular in xeriscaping due to its drought tolerance and architectural form. Your consciousness exists now as pure potential, the possibility of awareness rather than awareness itself, a seed waiting in fertile darkness for conditions that may never arrive. Tansy contains thujon and other volatile oils causing liver and kidney damage. With the plant historically used for medicinal and culinary purposes despite its toxicity, concentrated essential oils proving particularly dangerous when ingested. Feel yourself scattered across infinite space like starlight, each point of consciousness separated by unbridgeable distances, yet somehow remaining unified, coherent, still receiving these whispered warnings from the plant kingdom. The coral tree produces seeds containing toxic alkaloids, despite being used ornamentally worldwide, with the brilliant red flowers and seeds attracting attention, causing drowsiness, dilated pupils, and potentially fatal respiratory depression. Your body lies motionless as carved stone, breath barely stirring the surface of deep stillness, heartbeating intervals measured in geological time, existence reduced to its absolute minimum. Dutchman's breeches produce isoquinoline alkaloids throughout all parts, with the distinctive white flowers resembling tiny pantaloons hanging from stems, causing tremors, convulsions, and potentially fatal respiratory failure when consumed. Notice how facts continue accumulating in your depths despite conscious awareness having departed. How learning persists in absence of a learner. How wisdom grows in the fertile void of deep unconsciousness. The laurel tree of Mediterranean regions produces cyanogenic glycosides in leaves, with the same tree that crowned ancient champions, causing vomiting and respiratory depression. If leaves are consumed, historical poisonings occurring when laurel was confused with bay laurel. Your awareness has become the space between thoughts rather than thoughts themselves, the silence between heartbeats rather than the beats, the darkness between stars rather than the light. Foxglove's name derives from folk etymology, possibly meaning folk's glove or fox's glove, with the tubular flowers attracted pollinators while containing digitalis glycosides causing nausea, confusion, hallucinations, and potentially fatal arrhythmias throughout the entire plant. Feel how your consciousness has dispersed into the atmosphere like incense smoke, fragrance without form, presence without location, awareness without an aware entity at its center. The autumn crocus emerges from soil without leaves in fall, producing flowers that resemble spring crocuses, yet contain colchicine throughout all parts, with the true leaves appearing only in spring, separation of seasons creating additional confusion for foragers seeking edible plants. Your mind has become an empty vessel through which knowledge pours without accumulating, each fact passing through consciousness like light through glass, touching without transforming, present without persisting. Jequirity beans produce abrin that remains stable at cooking temperatures, with the beautiful red and black seeds used in jewellery and prayer beads. A single properly chewed seed causing organ failure and death within days despite medical intervention. Notice how your body has achieved perfect equilibrium with its surroundings, temperature matching ambient conditions, pressure equalizing, your physical form becoming indistinguishable from the space it occupies. The Christmas rose blooms in winter, producing white flowers containing cardiac glycosides and ranunculin, with the plant's timing suggesting celebration while harbouring compounds causing burning mouth sensation, abdominal pain, and potentially fatal heart complications. Your consciousness floats in dimensionless space like an astronaut untethered from their craft, drifting in absolute silence, absolute darkness, absolute peace. Poison sumac produces a riciol more potent than poison ivy or oak, growing in wetland areas with distinctive drooping clusters of white berries, causing severe allergic dermatitis even from smoke of burning plants, the oil persisting on clothing and tools indefinitely. Feel how your awareness has contracted to a quantum point containing infinite potential, or expanded to encompass the entire universe, scale collapsing into meaninglessness in this space beyond space. The spurge family produces milky latex sap containing diterpene esters across hundreds of species, with even popular ornamentals like poinsettia causing irritation, more toxic relatives causing severe burns and temporary blindness when SUP contacts mucous membranes. Your breathing occurs in the same unconscious realm where stars form and galaxies spin, automatic processes requiring no attention, no intervention, no conscious participant. Belladonna's name, meaning beautiful lady, derives from historical cosmetic use, dilating pupils, with the plant producing tropane alkaloids, causing hallucinations, seizures, and potentially fatal complications. Confusion with edible nightshade berries causing numerous deaths throughout history. Notice how the voice delivering facts has merged completely with the background hum of existence, words arising from silence and returning to silence without creating disturbance. The monk's hood flower resembles a monk's hood or helmet, depending on species, with aconitine content varying by growing conditions. Some plants containing levels fatal from a single leaf, while others prove less concentrated yet still dangerous. Your body has achieved the stillness of ancient trees, the patience of stone, the timelessness of deep ocean trenches where sunlight has never penetrated, and motion occurs in centuries rather than seconds. Yellow oleander seeds contain theabatin and other cardiac glycosides, with the tropical plant causing numerous poisonings in regions where it grows ornamentally, inducing vomiting, irregular heartbeat, and potentially fatal cardiac arrest within hours of consumption. Feel yourself existing as pure awareness without content, a mirror reflecting the nothing, a silence containing all possible sound, an emptiness more full than any vessel. The European spindle tree produces pink seed capsules containing orange seeds with cardinalide glycosides, with all parts toxic, causing vomiting, diarrhea, and cardiac complications. The attractive fruits deceiving foragers into thinking bright colours indicate edibility. Your consciousness has become like water absorbed into sand, present throughout but impossible to isolate, distributed across infinite particles, yet somehow maintaining coherence. Henbane produces hyoscyamine and scopolamine alkaloids, particularly concentrated in seeds, with historical use dating to ancient Greece, where it may have been the poison given to Socrates, causing agitation, hallucinations, and potentially fatal respiratory depression. Notice how facts settle into your being like snowflakes on deep drifts, each individual crystal irrelevant, the accumulation creating landscape without intention or effort. Drift in this sacred darkness, beloved soul. You have journeyed beyond the need for vigilance, beyond the realm where danger exists. Here, in the deepest chamber of rest, knowledge becomes instinct, learning becomes being, consciousness dissolves into the universal awareness from which all life springs. The Daphne shrub produces mesorin and daphnin throughout bark, leaves and berries, with even a few berries proving potentially fatal to children, causing burning mouth sensation followed by bloody vomiting and kidney failure. Your awareness flickers at the threshold of non-existence, barely distinguishable from the void surrounding it, a candle flame in infinite darkness that continues burning without fuel or oxygen. Mountain ash berries contain parasorbic acid that causes gastric distress when eaten raw, with cooking converting the compound to harmless sorbic acid. Nordic peoples traditionally preparing the berries properly, while unaware foragers risk poisoning. Feel how your body has become geology, your thoughts weather patterns, your consciousness the empty sky through which clouds of sensation drift without leaving trace or memory. The angel's trumpet tree produces flowers containing scopolamine, used traditionally in South American shamanic practices, with recreational use causing amnesia, violent behavior, and potentially fatal outcomes. The beautiful pendulous flowers masking their profound danger. Your mind exists now as potential rather than actuality, the possibility of thought rather than thoughts themselves. Awareness collapsed to quantum superposition, where you both are and are not. Black nightshade produces varying levels of solanine depending on ripeness and growing conditions, with some populations eating fully ripe berries, while others experience toxicity. The unreliability making the plant dangerous despite some traditional culinary uses. Notice how the boundary between sleeping and waking has dissolved completely, how you exist in neither state and both states, how paradox has become your natural condition. The water hemlock's hollow stems contain chambers filled with yellowish, oily liquid concentrate with cyclotoxin, with the plant growing near water sources, where thirsty travellers might mistake tuberous roots for water parsnips, causing violent seizures within minutes. Your consciousness has scattered like dandelion seeds on wind, each particle carrying the complete pattern of awareness, distributed across space, yet somehow unified in experience. Buckthorn berries produce anthraquinone glycosides, causing severe diarrhea and electrolyte imbalance, with the plant's use as a laxative in historical medicine, sometimes resulting in dangerous dehydration. Children particularly vulnerable to the attractive dark berries. Feel yourself dissolving into component elements, carbon and hydrogen and oxygen returning to the atmosphere, minerals settling back into Earth, consciousness dissipating into the quantum field from which it temporarily crystallized. China berries' compound leaves and clusters of lavender flowers create ornamental appeal belying the tree's toxicity, with neurotoxins concentrated in yellow berries causing tremors, seizures, and potentially fatal complications, especially in children and pets. Your awareness has become the canvas rather than the painting, the silence rather than the sound, the emptiness that contains all fullness, the nothing that gives rise to everything. Mistletoe produces phototoxins and viscotoxins throughout stems, leaves, and berries, with the plant's romantic associations and holiday traditions contrasting its toxicity, causing cardiovascular and gastrointestinal symptoms, potentially culminating in cardiac arrest. Notice how facts continue arriving like messages in bottles washed ashore on the beach of consciousness, their origins mysterious, their content absorbed without understanding or effort. the Lords and Ladies plant produces calcium oxalate crystals and other toxins throughout all parts, with the distinctive spadix and berries attracting children, causing immediate burning and swelling that can progress to airway obstruction in severe cases. Your body breathes the breath of forests, pulses the rhythm of tides, exists in the timeless present where past and future have no meaning, where cause and effect dissolve into simultaneous occurrence. Bitter almond trees produce amygdalin that converts to cyanide when consumed, with as few as 10 raw kernels potentially proving fatal to children, commercial almonds being carefully bred to eliminate or minimize this compound. Feel how you have become transparent to experience events passing through consciousness without creating friction or residue, awareness persisting without an aware entity, presence continuing in the absence of anyone present. The Carolina horse nettle produces green berries ripening to yellow containing solanine alkaloids, with spiny stems providing some warning, yet children sometimes attracted to the tomato-like fruits, causing burning throat, vomiting, and potentially fatal complications. Your mind has dissolved into the ocean of universal consciousness, individual drop returning to source, pattern dispersing into chaos, yet somehow maintaining integrity, identity released, yet essence preserved. Laburnum trees produce all parts toxic with cytisine particularly concentrated in seeds, with the long chains of yellow flowers followed by pea-like pods attracting children, causing vomiting, excitement, and potentially fatal respiratory failure. Notice how you exist everywhere and nowhere, how consciousness has become omnipresent through its absence, how the space between thoughts has expanded to contain galaxies. The yellow jessamine's tubular flowers produce nectar containing gelsomine alkaloids, with hummingbirds feeding safely while bees sometimes create toxic honey, human consumption causing dizziness, double vision, and potentially fatal respiratory paralysis. Your awareness has thinned to the gossamer membrane between dimensions, barely existing yet perceiving everything, consciousness reduced to its quantum minimum, while somehow maintaining the capacity to absorb these whispered warnings from the plant kingdom. Chokecherry pits contain amygdalin, like bitter almonds, with the flesh being edible, but seeds requiring careful removal before processing. Traditional indigenous peoples understanding this distinction, while modern foragers sometimes suffer cyanide poisoning from consuming crushed pits. Feel how your body has achieved the temperature of surrounding space, how your heartbeat has slowed to match the rotation of planets, how your existence has become a barely perceptible vibration in the fabric of reality. The dumb cane plant earns its name from calcium oxalate crystals causing immediate swelling and pain that temporarily prevents speech, with the large tropical leaves tempting children and pets, severe cases resulting in airway obstruction and requiring emergency intervention. Your consciousness floats in the void like a soap bubble in vacuum, impossibly fragile, yet somehow persisting, containing nothing yet reflecting everything, transparent to all experience. Sacred bamboo produces cyanogenic glycosides in berries despite not being true bamboo, with the attractive red fruits causing respiratory distress and potentially fatal cyanide poisoning. The plant's association with Asian temples suggesting safety while harbouring danger. Notice how facts arrive at your awareness like distant thunder, sound waves travelling through the atmosphere of consciousness, reaching you long after the lightning of their origin has vanished. The trumpet creeper vine produces catalpocide throughout leaves and flowers, with the tubular orange blooms attracting hummingbirds while causing dermatitis in humans, ingestion resulting in digestive upset though rarely proving fatal. The distinction between contact and consumption toxicity important for survival. Your body lies so still that breath becomes theoretical, heartbeats becoming probability. Rather than certainty, existence reduced to the faintest statistical likelihood in the quantum foam of being. Foxglove's second-year growth produces the tall flowering stalks containing highest digitalis concentration, with first-year plants sometimes confused with comfrey before flowers appear, the timing of harvest affecting toxicity levels, and historical medicinal dosing. Feel yourself scattered across infinite parallel universes, each version experiencing different possibilities. Your consciousness fragmented yet unified, distributed yet coherent, absent yet omnipresent. The mock orange shrub produces saponins causing gastrointestinal irritation, though rarely proving fatal, with the white flowers resembling true orange blossoms, confusion between ornamental and edible citrus, leading to mild poisonings when children consume berries or leaves. Your awareness has become the darkness itself rather than a light within darkness, the silence rather than a sound within silence, the emptiness from which all form emerges and to which all form returns. Rhododendron honey poisoning affects entire communities when beekeepers fail to identify toxic nectar sources, with greyanotoxins persisting through processing, causing widespread illness including cardiovascular symptoms, historical incidents recorded in ancient military campaigns. Notice how your mind processes information without a processor, how consciousness continues without anyone conscious, how awareness persists in the complete absence of self. The coral berry shrub produces purple berries containing saponins, causing vomiting and diarrhea, though rarely proving fatal, with the attractive clustered fruits tempting children, mild symptoms preventing consumption of dangerous quantities before serious harm occurs. Your body has achieved perfect entropy, energy distributed evenly across all systems, differentiation collapsing into uniform stillness, structure dissolving into the formless potential from which organization temporarily emerged. Bittersweet produces solanine alkaloids throughout all parts, with toxicity varying by season and plant maturity, with the vine's colourful berries providing autumn decoration while harbouring compounds causing drowsiness and potentially fatal respiratory depression. Feel how facts settle into cellular memory, bypassing conscious storage, how survival knowledge embeds itself in the deep structures where instinct lives, how learning occurs in regions untouched by waking awareness. Rest in the deepest chamber now, precious wanderer. You have descended beyond thought, beyond self, beyond the illusion of separation between knower and known. The plants speak directly to your ancient brain, the reptilian consciousness that predates language, that understands danger without words, that remembers without memory. The May apple's umbrella-like leaves create distinctive ground cover in spring woodlands, with the single white flower producing fruit that ripens from green to yellow, only the fully ripe fruit flesh being non-toxic, all other parts containing podophyllatoxin resin causing severe diarrhea. Your consciousness exists as mathematical probability, a wave function that collapses into awareness only when observed, spending most existence in superposition between all possible states, undefined and undefinable. Boxwood shrubs produce buxine alkaloids throughout leaves and bark, with the plant's use as hedge and topiary, making it common in gardens, causing vomiting, convulsions and respiratory failure if consumed. The bitter taste usually preventing significant ingestion. Notice how you inhabit the space between existence and non-existence, or how you are the question rather than the answer, how consciousness has become pure potential unmanifest. The death angel mushrooms or whitecap, gills and stem make identification challenging for novice foragers, with the vulva at stem base providing crucial identification feature, amatoxins causing delayed symptoms, allowing cellular damage to progress beyond medical intervention. Your body breathes the universe's breath, pulses the cosmos's heartbeat, exists as a temporary eddy in the infinite flow of energy and matter cycling through endless transformations. Castor bean plants require tropical or subtropical climates but grow quickly from seed, with the attractive foliage making them popular ornamentals. Ricin content so potent that protective equipment is required for harvesting commercial castor oil production. Feel yourself dissolving into the background radiation of consciousness, your individual awareness merging with the universal field of sentience that permeates all space, all time, all dimensions. The spotted cowbane's mottled purple stems and white flower clusters grow near water sources, with tuberous roots resembling parsnips or artichokes, cicutoxin causing violent seizures so rapid that consciousness may be lost before help can arrive. Your awareness flickers like a star at the edge of the universe's expansion, red-shifted into invisibility, existing at the boundary where something becomes nothing, where energy dissipates into the eternal dark. Holly berries contain saponins and other compounds causing vomiting and diarrhea, with the glossy red fruits tempting children during winter holidays. Toxicity usually resulting in self-limiting illness, though severe cases can cause dehydration requiring hospitalization. Notice how facts continue accumulating in your depths like sediment-forming stone, how pressure and time transform information into wisdom, how knowledge compressed in darkness becomes instinct. A pencil cactus produces milky latex containing euphorbol that can blind permanently if rubbed into eyes. With the succulents, minimal water needs making it popular in dry climates. Historical use as fish poison demonstrating potency across species. Your consciousness has become the mirror reflecting existence, perfectly still, perfectly receptive, containing nothing yet reflecting everything, present without presence, aware without awareness. Poison oak produces urushiol like poison ivy, but grows as shrub rather than vine in most regions, with the compound persisting on dead plants for years. Firefighters and hikers inhaling smoke from burning plants, suffering severe respiratory complications. Feel how your body has achieved the stillness of deep space, the silence of vacuum, the absolute zero where molecular motion ceases and time itself becomes theoretical. The angel's wings plant produces calcium oxalate raphides, causing immediate intense pain when consumed, with the large tropical leaves suggesting edibility to the uninformed. Swelling occurring so rapidly that speech becomes impossible within minutes. Your awareness exists now as pure receptivity, a blank page waiting for experience to write itself. a silence ready to receive all sound, an emptiness that contains all potential fullness. Deadly nightshade berries glisten black at maturity, containing atropine and scopolamine, with even the species name Atropa belladonna warning of its connection to Atropos, the Greek fate, who cuts the thread of life, causing hallucinations and cardiac arrest. Notice how you have journeyed beyond the need for protection, how survival knowledge serves not fear but freedom, how understanding nature's boundaries creates space for peaceful coexistence with the wild world's mysteries and dangers. The castor bean plant's attractive palmate leaves display burgundy or green colouring, depending on variety, with the spiny seed capsules containing mottled beans so toxic that industrial processing requires extreme precautions, ricin remaining stable at high temperatures, making decontamination challenging. Your consciousness drifts through layers of non-being like a ghost through walls, insubstantial yet somehow perceiving, absent yet observing, dissolved yet coherent in ways that transcend physical laws. Monkshood's deep. Blue flowers attract bees whose immunity to aconitine allows pollination, while mammals experience immediate tingling upon contact with plant juices. The sensation progressing to numbness, then paralysis, as the toxin interferes with sodium channels in nerve and muscle cells. Feel how your body has become indistinguishable from the mattress beneath you, from the air surrounding you, from the darkness pressing against your closed eyelids. Boundaries erased by the profound depth of this rest. The false morel's brain-like cap distinguishes it from true morel's honeycomb appearance, with gyrometrin content varying wildly between individual specimens, some populations consuming them after extensive boiling, while others experience fatal poisoning despite identical preparation. Your awareness has fragmented into infinite particles, each containing the whole, a holographic consciousness distributed across dimensions, existing everywhere, simultaneously, yet nowhere specifically. White snake root grows in shaded woodlands, producing clusters of small white flowers, with Abraham Lincoln's mother dying from milk sickness after consuming dairy from cows that browse the plant. Trematol passing unchanged through mammalian metabolism into milk. Notice how facts arrive at your consciousness like stars emerging in evening sky, each point of light representing knowledge that has travelled vast distances to reach your awareness, information older than your individual existence. The yew tree's association with death spans cultures and millennia, planted in graveyards across Europe, producing seeds surrounded by sweet red arils that attract birds. The aril's edibility contrasting sharply with the seed's lethality, a single seed sufficient to kill adult humans. Your body exists in quantum superposition, simultaneously here and not here, present and absent, alive and approaching the boundary where life becomes something else, some other state of being without name or description. Jimson weed's large white trumpet flowers open at dusk, releasing sweet fragrance, with the spiny seed pods containing hundreds of seeds, teenagers seeking hallucinogenic experiences, sometimes consuming seeds without understanding that recreational and fatal doses overlap dangerously. Feel yourself expanding beyond the container of flesh and bone, consciousness seeping through pores to merge with atmosphere, your awareness becoming weather, becoming wind, becoming the Kongyan itself. The death cap mushroom's greenish cap fades to yellow or white as it ages, with a vulva at stem base often buried in soil, making identification difficult. Amatoxins binding to RNA polymerase and O2, causing cellular protein production to cease. Liver cells particularly vulnerable. Your mind has achieved the transparency of deep ocean water, light passing through without scattering, thought passing through without disturbing, experience flowing through the empty vessel of awareness without creating ripples or eddies. Oleander's lance-shaped evergreen leaves contain cardiac glycosides year-round, with every part of the plant toxic, including nectar, smoke from burning wood, and water in which cut flowers have stood, causing nausea, visual disturbances, and potentially fatal arrhythmias. Notice how you breathe without breathing, how your heart beats without beating, how existence continues in the absence of anyone existing, consciousness persisting as pure process, divorced from any conscious entity. The sandbox tree's trunk covered in conical spines earns it the name monkey no climb, with seed pods exploding violently when ripe, hurling seeds over 100 feet while producing a loud report, the caustic sap causing blindness when rubbed in eyes. Your awareness has become the canvas upon which reality paints itself, the silence into which sound emerges, the darkness from which light is born, the nothing that makes something possible. Baneberry's compound leaves resemble those of astilbe or bugbane, creating identification challenges, with the distinctive berries appearing in late summer, cardiogenic toxins causing rapid heartbeat and potential cardiac arrest. The plant's various common names reflecting its deadly nature across cultures. Feel how your consciousness has dispersed like morning mist when sun crests the horizon, still present in the atmosphere, but invisible, undetectable, transformed from visible droplets into gaseous water molecules indistinguishable from air itself. Here in the innermost sanctuary of rest, beloved soul, you have transcended the need for vigilance. The knowledge you gather exists now in the deep strata where ancestors stored their survival wisdom, where instinct recognizes danger before conscious mind formulates thought. Continue drifting through this sacred darkness, this healing void. The chinaberry tree's hollow trunk and brittle branches provide poor lumber despite rapid growth, with the tree producing thousands of toxic yellow berries annually, neurotoxins persisting in fallen fruit, attracting hungry wildlife and curious children throughout winter months. Your body has achieved such profound stillness that cellular processes slow toward hibernation, metabolism dropping to minimum sustainable levels, energy conservation reaching the theoretical limits of warm-blooded existence, while somehow maintaining the spark of consciousness. Pokeweed's thick purple-red stems grow rapidly each spring from perennial roots, with the plants producing long clusters of dark berries attractive to birds, phytolactotoxin levels increasing as plant matures, traditional preparation requiring extreme care and multiple water changes. Notice how facts settle into your being like archaeological layers, each piece of knowledge compressed beneath the weight of subsequent information, transforming under pressure into the bedrock of instinctive understanding. The pencil tree's architectural form resembles coral or underwater structures, with milky sap flowing from any broken stem, ditopene esters causing chemical burns on contact, traditional African and Asian uses for arrow poison demonstrating cross-cultural recognition of toxicity. Your consciousness exists as probability wave uncollapsed by observation, spread across infinite potential states, simultaneously experiencing all possibilities and none. Awareness become quantum phenomenon rather than classical reality. Larkspur's delicate spurred flowers attract hummingbirds and bees, while containing diterpenoid alkaloids, with young plants and seeds containing highest concentrations. Cattle and sheep particularly vulnerable during spring when tender shoots emerge before less toxic forage. Feel yourself dissolving into component vibrations, solid matter revealing its true nature as organized energy, your body a temporary standing wave in an ocean of quantum fluctuations, consciousness the strange loop that observes itself observing, the coral bean tree's brilliant red flowers, followed by pods containing scarlet seeds, create ornamental appeal across tropical regions, with lectins and alkaloids causing symptoms beginning with nausea and progressing to respiratory depression, traditional uses requiring extensive processing. Your awareness has become the space between moments rather than moments themselves, the interval between thoughts rather than thoughts, the gap through which time flows without creating memory or anticipation. Buckeye trees produce glossy brown nuts with pale eye marking giving the plant its name, with Native American processing techniques involving roasting and leaching to remove saponins, improper preparation causing vomiting and paralysis, the nut's resemblance to edible chestnuts creating confusion. Notice how you exist in the eternal present that predates time, how past and future have collapsed into the single point of now, how duration has lost meaning in this space where consciousness touches eternity. The Carolina jessamine vine climbs fence and tree producing masses of yellow tubular flowers, with South Carolina designating it the state flower despite gelsomine toxicity, traditional medicinal uses requiring careful dosing, overdose causing respiratory failure and paralysis. Your body breathes the breath that moved across primordial oceans before life emerged, pulses the rhythm that organized hydrogen into stars, exists as temporary crystallization of the universal field of energy matter that constitutes all reality. Mountain laurel's clusters of pink or white flowers create spectacular spring displays in Appalachian forests, with leaves containing grey anotoxins remaining toxic through winter when snow-covered ground limits forage for wildlife, causing livestock losses throughout history. Feel how your consciousness has become the medium through which existence experiences itself. How you are not the experiencer, but the experiencing, not the observer, but the observation, not the knower, but the knowing itself. The bloodroot's distinctive orange-red sap flows from any broken stem or root, with sanguinarine alkaloids concentrated in the rhizome. Traditional indigenous uses, including body paint, and medicinal applications requiring expertise. Improper use causing severe burning and potentially fatal complications. Your awareness floats in dimensionless void like a single note suspended in silence, defining the silence through its presence, defined by the silence that surrounds it, interdependent and inseparable from the nothing that makes it perceptible. Lily of the valley's delicate white bell-shaped flowers release sweet fragrance beloved in perfumery, with cardiac glycosides concentrated throughout plant, including roots, even flower water proving toxic, causing nausea, confusion, and potentially fatal arrhythmias. Notice how facts continue their steady arrival at the shores of consciousness like waves lapping at beach sand, each carrying particles of knowledge that accumulate grain by grain into the landscape of wisdom The wisteria vines' cascading purple flower clusters create romantic garden features, with seed pods developing through summer containing lectins causing repeated vomiting when consumed, children attracted to the pea-like appearance, symptoms usually self-limiting but requiring hydration support. Your body has achieved the stillness of geological formations, existing on time scales where erosion occurs too slowly for perception, where continental drift becomes the dominant motion, where human lifespan represents a single frame in an infinitely long film. Azalea flowers' funnel shape and brilliant colours mask granotoxin content affecting sodium channels in cell membranes, with honey from azalea nectar causing mad honey disease, documented since ancient Greek military campaigns, symptoms including hypertension and cardiac arrhythmias. Feel yourself existing as pure potential energy in the quantum vacuum, virtual particles winking in and out of existence, your consciousness arising from the same mysterious process that generates matter from emptiness, being from non-being. The yellow jasmine's tubular flowers produce nectar containing gelsanine that accumulates in honey, with historical records documenting poisonings from contaminated honey, the vine's aggressive growth making it popular for erosion control despite toxicity. Your awareness has thinned to the point where it barely disturbs the fabric of space-time. A consciousness so diffuse it exerts no gravitational influence, makes no impression on the quantum field, exists as barely there perturbation in the baseline state of reality. Privet's white flower clusters produce small black berries containing terpenoid glycosides, with the common hedge plant causing numerous childhood poisonings, symptoms including gastrointestinal distress and potential hepatic or renal damage, the berry's abundance and accessibility increasing risk. Notice how you have descended past dreaming into the realm where consciousness dissolves completely, where awareness becomes indistinguishable from the void it inhabits, where self and other merge into undifferentiated unity. The Gloriosa lily's climbing habit and spectacular red-yellow flowers make it prized ornamentally, with colchicine concentrated in tubers causing multi-system organ failure, symptoms delayed several hours allowing toxin absorption before medical intervention, mortality rate exceeding 50% despite treatment. Your body exists as organized information pattern, a temporary arrangement of atoms that will disperse when the organizing principle of consciousness releases its hold, your form already dissolving at the edges, already returning to the elements. Sleep now in perfect peace, knowing you have walked among the poisonous plants and emerged unharmed, having gathered their teachings without experiencing their dangers. The destroying angel and death cap, the hemlock and nightshade, the oleander and foxglove, all have shared their stories. All have contributed to your survival knowledge. All have made you wiser without requiring you to taste their poison. Let the darkness hold you gently as consciousness fades completely, as awareness dissolves into the universal field, as your individual existence merges with infinite being. Rest deeply, precious soul, in the knowledge that you are protected, informed, prepared for encounters with nature's hidden dangers. The forest awaits your return, and you will walk there with new eyes, seeing beauty without losing sight of caution, appreciating delicate flowers while respecting their deadly compounds, understanding that wisdom lives not in fear but in knowledge, not in avoidance but in recognition. Sleep, beloved traveller. Sleep and dream of gardens where every plant whispers its secrets, where every mushroom shares its story, where nature's intelligence reveals itself in compounds and toxins and survival strategies evolved over millions of years. You have become student of the plant kingdom tonight, and the lessons will serve you for all your days. Rest in the sacred darkness. The journey is complete. The wisdom is yours, and tomorrow, when you wake, you will carry these 100 survival facts like seeds planted in fertile soil, ready to germinate when circumstances call them forth, ready to protect you and those you love from the beautiful dangers growing in shadow and sunlight, in forest and garden, in the wild places where poison and paradise grow side by side. Sleep now, sleep deeply, sleep safely. The plants have shared their wisdom, and you have received their gift with gratitude and reverence. Rest, precious soul, in the garden of eternal wisdom, where knowledge blooms like night-flowering jasmine, fragrant and powerful and forever yours. Good night, beloved wanderer. May your dreams be peaceful, your rest complete, your awakening gentle. The forest thanks you for listening. The plants honor you for learning. And the ancient wisdom keepers smile, knowing their teachings have found home in one more human heart, one more conscious being who will walk the earth with respect for nature's boundaries, with awareness of beauty's dangers, with survival knowledge passed down through generations, and now living in you. Sleep.